Okay, so this is what happened, I say as I let out a breath. Remember when I asked you about the secret areas on campus after Ellen thought she saw a girl with red hair walk into Wolf Hall? That was Musette. Oh, and the girl with red hair that Daniel saw on the trails? That wasn't a bird, like you said. That was Musette, too. Daniel accidentally performed magic without realizing it when he was upset, and it freed her from the spell she cast on herself to preserve her memories. Continue, Hieronymous says, his expression giving nothing away. Okay, so at first we thought she was a ghost, I explain. We went to visit her at night. She couldn't remember anything, and sometimes she would float away mid-sentence. We managed to track it down to a timeline, and she mentioned Damien had been her boyfriend, so obviously we knew she was a student. This was when you asked me about the freshman that was expelled, Hieronymous continues. Musette Ellis. Yes, I tell him. We found out from, another student that Musette died. The real Musette died. No one does follow-ups with wild seeds after they are expelled. They just get their magic erased and then poof, they're gone and everyone forgets about them. Well, when they took Musette's magic, they didn't restore her doctor's memories of her, so she didn't get the medicine she needed and her heart stopped and she died. And that's not even the worst part. Her parents were charged with neglect. They're both in jail right now because Musette died and it's not even their fault. How do you even know all this? Hieronymous asks. Ellen did some sleuthing over spring break, I explain. She managed to find an obituary for Musette confirming that she died, and it made the news because of her parents' arrest. She and Musette became pretty inseparable after that. But Musette was fading out, and Ellen discovered that it was because Musette managed to copy her memories and put part of her soul into a tape recorder. Hieronymous's eyes go wide, and I can't help but look away. I want to make it very clear right now that Ellen did not mix magic and technology this time. Musette did that. Years ago. She put her memories in the tape recorder and hid it on campus, and Daniel accidentally opened it with his magic. Since she was just a spell, she was fading out more and couldn't survive on this plane. So Daniel made a portal to the other world and sent her through so she could still live on. Hieronymus is just staring at me now, and I open my mouth and close it again. Are you mad at me? Tori, I am furious with you, Hieronymus snaps. Do you know that you could seriously be expelled for this stunt you pulled with your friends? We were just trying to help her, I say, spreading my hands by my sides. Please, I don't like it when you're mad at me. It was a matter of life and death. She was already dead, Hieronymus yells, his hands balling into fists at his sides. If you had been caught performing this little ritual, the three of you would have been expelled on the spot. What were you thinking? I just wanted to help her, I say softly. Why didn't you come to me? Hieronymus demands. Why didn't you tell me what was going on? I wanted to, I tell him honestly. Ellen was afraid that you might banish her. We were just afraid that you wouldn't understand because you're not a wild seed. That has nothing to do with this. That has everything to do with this. I snap back, finally finding my own anger. Musette died because of how wild seeds are treated. Potsdam doesn't want to teach students to know better, and then it's treated as, oh, it's such a pity when freshmen are expelled for not following rules they didn't know existed. Musette is a perfect example of this, and she died. Miss Ellis received several warnings. She didn't trust any of the teachers, I snap back. She had every right to be concerned. She had to go to doctor's appointments every week to take care of her heart, and then suddenly she's just told that it's fixed with magic and not to worry about it. She wanted to understand how and why magic was suddenly able to heal her, but instead of having someone explain it to her, she was told not to ask questions. And when she kept digging into it, she was expelled. And then curiosity, quite literally, killed the cat. Why did you do it? Hieronymous demands. Obviously you knew you would get in trouble for this, or you would have told me sooner. Did you want to get expelled, Tori? You told Daniel you wanted to give up your magic over Thanksgiving break. Is this life not enough for you? Am I not enough for you? I blink at him stupidly. No, I blurt out. No, I don't know where I gave you that impression except for when I was super distant with you before we went on spring break, but I thought things were better now. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. You know that. If you had been caught, you would have been expelled, Hieronymous says quietly. All memories of me, gone. All memories of your magic, gone. Forgive me if I seem insulted that I mean less to you than a girl you've never met. I wouldn't have done it if I thought I could get expelled, I argue. I don't want to lose my magic. I don't want to lose you. I guess, yes, I was scared to tell you at first because I didn't want you to get mad at me, but I honestly didn't really think this was something I could get expelled for. He's silent as he glares at me. Are you going to tell Professor Potsdam? Are we really going to get expelled? I can feel tears form in my eyes now, but I don't realize that I'm really crying until a tear slides down my cheek. I haven't decided yet, Hieronymous says, and I swallow the lump in my throat. I don't know what to do, Tori. I really don't. I never thought you would put me in a position where I had to choose between my relationship with you and my duty to the school. He shakes his head. I don't even want to look at you right now, Tori. Leave. Just leave. But where will I go? I ask softly. I don't care, Hieronymous snaps. Go back to your old room. You can sleep there until I decide what to do with you. I'm trembling from head to toe. He's serious. I was always terrified of doing something, of telling him something that might incite this reaction, and now that I have, I do anything to rewind time and take it back. Hieronymous, I'm sorry. Tori, leave! I literally flinch and put my hands in front of my face as if he's going to hit me. I feel him use push magic on me to push me back towards the door, and I quickly leave and shut the door behind me. I don't think he'd hurt me, but then again, I didn't want to test his patience right now. But I don't want to go back to my old room either. If I was truly going to be expelled and lose my magic, I wanted to spend every last second with Hieronymous, with the person that I loved the most. But right now, he didn't want anything to do with me, and I could understand why. If I was really going to be expelled, it would be harder on him. Sure, I would still be in love with him, but I wouldn't remember who I was in love with. I had been through that before. Hieronymous would still remember me. He would still remember how he loved me, how he let down all of his barriers and dismissed all of his concerns about our relationship because he really cared about me that much. He would spend the rest of his life remembering how he married someone who was stupid enough to get herself expelled and lose her magic and her memories entirely. Maybe this was why he was so insistent that our age was a barrier. Maybe I was just really too young and naive to know better. I just sit on the floor outside the door and draw my knees into my chest, sobbing into the fabric of my robe so I'm not too loud. I grab the stone around my neck and hold it tightly to me, feeling his irregular, rapid heartbeat. It doesn't calm me down like it usually does, but then again, I don't think anything could calm me down right now. I have absolutely no idea what to do. Should I convince him to keep this a secret so I don't get expelled? Or should I take responsibility for this and tell Professor Potsdam myself? If nothing else, it was over and done with now. Musette was safe in the other world. Daniel was back home in his own lands. Only Ellen and I would have to face the consequences of what we did, and maybe that was okay. Hieronymous would be hurt, yes, and probably Virginia and Donald, but who else did we have? We didn't have any families left. Our parents had forgotten us. We were just two wild seed students, as expendable as Musette was. If Aloysius wanted me to stay married to Hieronymus that badly, he might intervene, but did I have enough nerve to call on him for help? I paused for a moment as I consider my options. None of them were very favorable, but I had to take responsibility for this. That was what adults did, right? They took responsibility for their actions and they accepted the consequences of them without crying and carrying on like a child. Maybe, just maybe, if I told them what happened and acknowledged what I did wrong, I wouldn't have to be expelled. Punished, yes, but not expelled. I could only hope that Potsdam was in more of a forgiving mood than Hieronymus was.